Hello from Pretoria, where the prosecution has wrapped up its case in the murder trial against Oscar Pistorius. Pistorius, the Paralympic athlete, is, of course, charged with the premeditated murder of his girlfriend Reeva on Valentine's Day last year. And over a 15-day period, the prosecution, with the help of 21 witnesses, has laid out a case that he deliberately, wittingly murdered his girlfriend, firing 4 shots through a locked bathroom door at his home here in Pretoria. When the defence starts, they're going to paint a very different picture of a man scared that an intruder had broken into his home here in Pretoria in the middle of the night and that he had merely fired those shots out of fear, and it was a tragic accident. Well, we expected the defence to start at the end of this week and to see Oscar Pistorius on the stand, but in another surprising twist in this already dramatic trial, there was a procedural problem, and the judge was forced to postpone this trial for another 10 days. It'll start again on Monday, the 7th of April. But before the adjournment, we heard the intimate and private conversations between Oscar and Reeva revealed when the police telephone expert, Captain Francois Moller, gave evidence. The first message, the beginning of a testy exchange between the pair.
There are a lot of things that could make us both feel like Again, an outgoing message from the deceased to the accused. I'm just very honest. Another outgoing message from the deceased to the accused. I won't always think before I say something. Just appreciate that I'm not a liar.
And then the accused responded.
That's correct, my lady. The deceased received a message from the accused reading, I know. It was just when you got back from Tropica. You made it sound like you had only smoked weed once. And then last night that came out. I don't know how many times you took, or if you took other things, or what you did when you were on them.
It was followed up by a message from the deceased to the accused.
That's correct. I'm sorry if it upset you. It wasn't my intention. Again, a response from the accused back to the deceased. I do appreciate it. Could never be with someone that was. The deceased responded, me neither. The deceased sent another text message that reads, I wasn't a stripper or a HO.
There's another message that the deceased sent.
I certainly have never been a prude and I've had fun, but all innocent and without harmful repercussions.
A week later, Reeva sent another message after the athlete insisted that they leave a party early. She painted a picture of a man prone to jealousy and tantrums.
We managed to pull through and communicate well enough to show our care for each other is greater than the drama that attacked us. I was not flirting with anyone today. I feel sick that you suggested that and that you made a scene at the table and made us leave early. I'm terribly disappointed in how the day ended and how you left me. We are living in a double standard relationship where you can be mad about how I deal with stuff when you are very quick to act, cold and offish when you're unhappy. Every 5 seconds I hear how you dated another chick. You really have dated a lot of people. Yet you get upset if I mention one funny story with a long-term boyfriend. I do everything to make you happy and to not say anything to rock the boat with you. You do everything to throw tantrums in front of people. I have been upset by you for 2 days now. I'm so upset. I left Darren's party early. So upset. I can't get that day back. I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me and of how you will react to me. You make me happy 90% of the time and I think we are amazing together. But I'm not some other bitch you may now trying to kill your vibe. I am the girl who let go with you even when I was scared out of my mind too. I'm the girl who fell in love with you and wanted to tell you this weekend. But I'm also the girl that gets sidestepped when you are on a weird mood. I get snapped at and told my accent and voices are annoying. I touch your neck to show you I care. You tell me to stop. Stop chewing gum. Do this, don't do that. You don't want to hear stuff. Cut me off. I'm sorry if you truly felt I was hitting on my friend Sam's husband. And I'm sorry that you think that little of me. From the outside, I think it looks like we are a struggle, and maybe that's what we are. I just want to love and be loved. Be happy and make someone so happy. Maybe we can't do that for each other. Because right now, I know you aren't happy, and I'm certainly very unhappy and sad.
And the accused responded?
I don't want to have anything less than amazing for you and I. I'm sorry for the things I say without thinking and for taking offense to some of your actions. The fact that I'm tired and sick isn't an excuse. I was upset that you just left me after we got food to go talk to a guy, and I was standing tight behind you, watching you touch his arm and ignore me. I'm sorry I asked you to stop tapping my neck yesterday. I know you were just trying to show me love. I had a mad headache and should have just spoken to you softly. I'm sorry for asking you not to put on an accent last night. Pretty much the same, and didn't have the energy.
Only 6 days before she was shot dead, the prosecution highlighted another message where Reeva is hurt at being publicly criticised and verbally attacked by her boyfriend.
I present myself well and can converse with others while you are off busy chatting to fans and friends. I also knew people there tonight, and whilst you were having 1 or 2 pics taken, I was saying goodbye to people in my industry, and Fix wanted a photo with me. I was just being cordial by saying goodbye whilst you were busy. I completely understood your desperation to leave and thought I would be helping you by getting to the exit before you, because I can't rush on the heels I was wearing. I thought it would make a difference in us getting out without you being harassed anymore. I didn't think you would criticize me for doing that, especially not so loudly, so that others could hear. I might joke around and be all tomboyish at times, but I regard myself as a lady, and I didn't feel like one tonight, after the way you treated me when we left. I'm a person too, and I appreciate that you invited me out tonight, and I realize that you get harassed, but I am trying my best to make you happy, and I feel as though you sometimes never are, no matter the effort I put in. I can't be attacked by outsiders for dating you and be attacked by you, the one person I deserve protection from.
The phones seized by the police at the scene also revealed messages pointing to one of the firearms charges faced by Pistorius, discharging a gun at Tasha's restaurant in Johannesburg. Oscar tells Reeva that his friend Darren had taken the blame.
The message reads, "Angel, please don't say a thing to anyone. Darren told everyone it was his fault. I can't afford for that to come out. The guys promised not to say a thing."
And was there a response?
"I have no idea what you're talking about." And there's a little smiley face indicated as well.
As Oscar Pistorius left the court on Monday evening, it appeared that his account of things had taken a devastating blow at the evidence of Captain Moller, how he had interpreted the whole relationship with Reeva. But the next day, his defence counsel Barry Rube extracted a very different version of the events from the messages on the phones, one of a much more loving relationship.
You said that you wanted to determine relevant communications. What was your approach in determining relevance?
My lady, if I can answer it in this way, if one reads through this conversations and 1,700 and something entries that there was, one can immediately identify certain messages that stood out. And by standing out, I would mean that it It's not the ordinary or normal conversations. It's something else that's happening here.
I can ask you many questions. Let's get straight to the point. You found 4 relevant to arguing between them.
That's correct.
That's what you were looking at.
That's correct.
It's not that they're standing out. You were looking at messages showing some argument between the two.
That's correct.
Yes. And out of that, more than 1,700, you found 4.
That's correct. Conversations, not
Yeah.
because some of them were more than only one message. But yes, conversations.
Yes.
For the next hour, Barry Rue produced a series of exchanges, messages of love and affection, including a photo of Reeva blowing a kiss as a thank you for a gift from Oscar.
You like it, with a question mark.
And then the answer following.
The outgoing message from the deceased is, I love it.
And it goes on so warm, thank you, and it ends up 3 kisses, the 3 crosses.
3 crosses. That's correct, my lady.
Coming up, more private messages between Oscar and Reeva counter the prosecution claim that theirs was a relationship in crisis. And we'll be discussing the big questions that Oscar faces as he takes the stand in his own defence. Welcome back to Pretoria, where a police telecommunications expert has been detailing the many private and often intimate messages and conversations between Oscar and Reeva in the days and weeks leading up to her death. In the prosecution evidence, he described texts at times in which Reeva seemed to have described being scared of Oscar. But when it came to the defence turn, the cross-examination, they talked about a stream of affectionate texts. And Barry Rue pointed out that at times those loving messages came very soon after texts which suggested they'd been arguing.
The text is 3 crosses, which will be...
We know it's 3 kisses.
That's correct, my lady.
And what does she do in the next message at the time?
She replies at 1844, also with 5 kisses.
So there was a disagreement and unhappiness, but if you look at the emails, it was resolved very quickly.
That's correct, my lady.
Yeah.
To further demonstrate the strength of their relationship, the defence asked the court to run this video obtained exclusively by Sky News, showing the couple just over a week before Reeva was killed.
What I want to do is that I happened to see on Sky a clip where on Reeva and Mr. Pistorius on the 4th of February, which is very close to the unfortunate date, was in a sort of a shop, looks like a garage shop where you can buy whatever, cold drinks and sweets and so on. You might have seen this clip before. The only purpose is to show if that would accord with what is seen in the messages, nothing more. And I think it is relevant to this case, because one thing is relevant, and that's the relationship. So
well,
I just ask for a provisional admission. And
provisionally, yes.
Only provisionally, my
yes.
lady.
And then more texts were read out, including a question from Reeva about whether she should wear this dress at an event. He replied, I hope you enjoy tonight, my angel. I'm thinking of you. I love that. And you look amazing in it. And then in the final few days leading up to her death.
The outgoing message...
Meaning that's from Reeva to Mr. Pistorius.
That is correct, my lady. Baby, I love spending time with you and sleeping next to you. I just don't ever want to cramp your style or not give you space if you need it. Promise me you will always let me know when you need some Oscar time.
And there's a response to that message on the next page.
That's correct. It's an incoming that the deceased received.
That's from Mr. Pistorius.
That's correct. I love having you sleep next to me too, Baba. You never cramp my style.
One of the last exchanges was about the final evening they were to spend together.
The message is an outgoing message that the deceased sent, and it reads, Baby, can I cook for you on Thursday?
In response, the prosecutor, Harry Nell, interjected, pointing out that there was no reply from Oscar to a message in which Reeva was unhappy.
That's now 7 days before the accused shot her, and she said, "I can't be attacked by outsiders for dating you and be attacked by you, the one person I deserve protection from." Did he respond to this? The next message is from the deceased.
That's correct, my lady. The next message is on the 8th.
At 10
And that's
o'clock.
again an outgoing message.
At 10 o'clock the next morning.
That's correct, my
So
lady.
between that and 10 o'clock when she wrote him again, there was no response by the accused.
My lady, there's no response on the initial download that I did. It might be that it's deleted if there was one, but it's not on this report.
With no more prosecution witnesses and the state resting its case, the court was adjourned until Friday. And as Pistorius arrived at the end of the week, many expected to see him take the stand to begin his own defence. But an announcement from the judge soon curtailed proceedings.
We cannot proceed this morning, and we're also not sitting next week. One of my assessors is not well, so this court is not properly constituted.
We've made the necessary arrangements. We had discussions with court personnel. The court will be available on the 7th, and we will make ourselves available to proceed with this matter on the 7th during recess.
Thank you very much.
Maybe we will also put plans in place.
Thank you. This matter then will be postponed to Monday, the 7th of April, 2014. Court will adjourn.
Well, this trial's already run well over the 3 weeks that have been allotted here in the High Court in Pretoria, and we've only just wrapped up the prosecution case. The defence still to come. But let's have a look at where we've got so far and what we make of it. I'm joined by Kobus van Ryan, who's a retired judge here in South Africa, by Lobo das Neves, who's an investigator, former police officer and detective here now, I know, consulting for the FBI and many forces around the world, and Alex Crawford, our special correspondent, who's been sitting in court every day. Very good to see you all. Kobus, I just wondered if you could explain a little bit more about this adjournment, which took everybody by surprise.
Yes, it was quite a surprise, and it's a unique happening for such a big case. But, you know, a judge has the right to appoint assessors. The judge has appointed two. One has become ill, and I think for the moment it would be irregular for her to have continued. If a situation is reached where it's impossible for that person to go on, she can most certainly go on. In fact, she would be a quorum on her own.
Otherwise, prosecution so far, they made a pretty good case if you were judge?
Well, their job is to put all the facts before the court. That's the main job they have. I don't believe in prosecutors who prosecute to win, but prosecutors who do their job. And I think under the circumstances, they've done everything they could do.
Lobo, as a former investigator, you know the pressures on detectives to piece together a case, and there's been an awful lot of criticism in this case, and the defence has been trying to knock big holes in the investigators. How do you think they're holding up, and could it be a source of problem for the prosecution case?
The court well knows that if there are flaws in the investigation, it doesn't mean there's an automatic acquittal, firstly, or an exclusion of evidence. The court has a discretion and a right to decide what is in the interest of justice, what is applicable, what is not applicable, and whether that bit of evidence would really lead to a conviction or an acquittal.
There was a detective sacked fairly early on in this case, Hilton Botha, who was deemed to have made a bit of a mess of it at the original investigation of the gathering of evidence. Could he be called by the defence to try and blow the prosecution case apart?
Well, it would be a tricky thing for the defence to call him unless they've consulted with him quite extensively before the time. One must also realise that Hilton Botha has put a version on paper. And if he in any way diverts away from that version on paper, he exposes himself to prosecution. A lot of things that are pertinent to the elements of the crime are now hanging before the court, and the court will have to make a decision about it. So the defence has a job at their hands. They've got to really turn over every little piece of evidence before the court and then just cause that reasonable doubt.
And Alex, the defence still hasn't started after all these weeks, and Oscar Pistorius for a year he's been waiting to take the stand to give his version of events, so it must be pretty testing for him.
He's a man who's very, very used to pressure. He's pitted himself against pressure all his life in these major competitions he's been involved in. And in his autobiography, he talks about going into a race and just before the race, all the athletes turning into incredible actors, not wanting to flinch or twitch or show any vulnerability or any worries at all. So this is a man who's been quite inscrutable much of the past month. I've seen him every day, say hello to him every day, and he's unfailingly polite to everybody, to the reporters who talk to him. He's ready to have a chat, not anxious, I would say, but ready to have a chat. I bumped into him again on the way out, and he kind of opened the door. I thought I detected a certain amount of relief, because no matter how used you are to pressure, this does buy him time. He's got another 10 days to be prepared by the defence to go through things over and over again.
The whole trial's been conducted under unprecedented scrutiny with cameras and international media here, Kurbis. Do you think that the press and the media generally have been pushing the limits on this legally?
I'll be careful there because I'm the chair of the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. But I must say my general impression is that they're very aware of what the rules are. Our rules have opened up substantially since about 5-6 years ago. Appellate Division decided that you could say a lot more than could be said pre-constitutional times. So if just widely seen, I think they're really very aware of what the rules are, and the public has learnt a lot.
Alex, the last word.
I just want to say that, just on another note about Oscar Pistorius, he and his sister Amy have been reading books every day, and we've been puzzling about what these books are. And we've since discovered they're very religious books, both of them. They have regular Bible meetings at home. Oscar himself takes part in these family Bible readings, and I understand that even the minister goes to the house. So perhaps that is one other way in which he's preparing.
Thank you to all my guests. Thanks very much for discussing the trial so far. 16 days gone. Next up, the defence, but not until the end of this unexpected postponement. We'll be starting again with the proceedings in the Oscar Pistorius trial on Monday, the 7th of April. We'll be there for you at Sky News. Hope you'll join us from then with continuous live coverage.